Spotlight.
This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on Seoul Conclave 2025, a forum to nurture future leadership. The participants are Shekhar, Iyer, political analyst, and Vinay Kumar, journalist.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today addressed the ultimate leadership conclave in the capital. Today, he emphasized on the need for developing leadership in India in various sectors so that the critical thinking, risk-taking, solution-driven mindset can be developed and India can adopt global best practices with the vision of taking India to developed nation in 2047. The vision of Viksit Bharat, which the Modi government has been pursuing with a great deal of drive and initiative. Shekhar, if we look at this leadership conclave, this comes across as a unique kind of initiative which the Prime Minister has addressed.
Indeed, Vinayji, this is a very, very unique concept and an institution, the School of Ultimate Leadership, which has been set up in the gift city near Surat. And today was the first inaugural conclave in which leaders from several sectors participated. And what is important is the whole purpose of this kind of a school, as the Prime Minister has always wished, that we need to develop good leaders. And with good leaders who are capable of taking this country forward, meeting the numerous challenges that are already there and the challenges that are going to come. And the Prime Minister has always been talking of need to mobilize the youth, whether in the sector of politics or in other sectors. We need new people, people who do not enter the top leadership not because of their pedigree or their family, but people who come on their talent. Therefore, today's the School of Ultimate Leadership is what can say is a kind of an important milestone, in the whole concept of Viksit Bharat. Now, Prime Minister today asked some very, very important questions about leadership. What is the kind of leadership that India needs today? What is the kind of leadership that can take us forward? What is the kind of leadership that can have an Indian mind and an international mindset? Because world is largely shrinking day by day in terms of buckets, in terms of resources, in terms of challenges. So you need people who have the Indian mind, but who are tuned to the international mindset. People who have global approaches, global designs, and at the same time, they are rooted in our traditions and in our approach.
Shekhar, before we proceed further with our discussion, we can also tune in to what Prime Minister Narendra Modi said addressed to this conclave.
नेशन बिल्डिंग के लिए बेहतर सिटीजन्स का डेवलपमेंट जरूरी है। व्यक्ति निर्माण से राष्ट्र निर्माण, हर क्षेत्र में बेहतरीन लीडर्स का डेवलपमेंट बहुत जरूरी है और समय की मांग है। और इसलिए द स्कूल ऑफ अल्टीमेट लीडरशिप की स्थापना विकसित भारत की विकास यात्रा में एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण और बहुत बड़ा कदम है।
Going forward, Shekhar, Prime Minister said that India needs leaders with new kind of thinking across all sectors. Because human resources, HR, has a very great potential. We have institutions like Seoul. We have world-class institutions, no doubt, IITs, IIMs, AIMS, Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore, our ISRO. These are all world-class institutions which India can boast of. But going forward with this kind of thinking, this is something, if the government lays great stress on this and takes Prime Minister's vision forward, we will have very rich dividends to reap in the future.
Vinayji, the Prime Minister's deepest desire is the institution of the kind of the School of Ultimate Leadership will create leaders who will leave a mark all over the country in every important sector, including politics. Because even to develop better citizens, for nation building, you have to have excellent leadership is necessary. And the whole idea is to groom these excellence in leaders and so that they become excellent leaders. And the Prime Minister pointed out a very important thing, Vinayji, which is for a country to develop, it requires both human resources and natural resources. And where there are lack of natural resources, sometimes the human resources can play a big part. And in this context, Prime Minister gave the example of Gujarat, of which he was the Chief Minister for 13 years. And the Prime Minister recalled, his experience as Chief Minister, and he said, look, Gujarat did not endowed with great natural resources, but in terms of human resource, it had wealth. And that wealth enabled Gujarat to develop its other resources and to be where it stands today among different states. Because all the time the Prime Minister feels a good leadership will understand the need for momentum and speed. And PM keeps on saying that if you have to perform, you have to reform and transform. But along with that, the big question is, what is the scale of our transformation? What is the scale of our performance? And what is the speed? So the Prime Minister says, look, we need leaders who conceive that idea that Swami Vivekananda had, which is, if you have to free India from shackles of every kind of economic deprivation or whatever, you need at least 100 effective leaders. And once you have these leaders, they can ensure there is new zeal, and that zeal will take it forward. Of course, already you are seeing a lot of changes happening as India is marching towards Viksit Bharat. And almost every citizen seems to be involved in this exercise. But there is also positive good leadership, a leadership that can correct, a leadership that can understand the integrity, the linkages that are there between different sectors. And PM always has been cautioning, don't think in silos, don't think in separate departments, and think of things as a whole. And today, India is rising, and there is a lot of attention on India. The whole idea is you have leaders who will have a global approach, who will think of global market. But at the same time, as I said earlier, they will retain a local mindset. And the requirement of the leadership will be to prepare individuals who understand the Indian mind and international market. Vinay.
And on the opening day, Shekhar, we also had Bhutanese Prime Minister Tashi Cheweng Tobgay in attending this leadership conclave, and he lauded the Prime Minister's initiative and praised Prime Minister's leadership also. So we can hear also what Bhutanese Prime Minister had to say in this leadership conclave.
It is an honor to be part of the inaugural leadership conclave, a momentous occasion that will pave the way for many generations of capable public servants and leaders. However, I feel compelled to clarify right from the start that I do not have lessons to offer on leadership. I'm hardly qualified for that. Instead, I'm here as a student to learn.
Yes, particularly Bhutan is a very important participant because the kind of leadership that Bhutan has been developing it's the only country that has got this index of happiness. And whatever his government does, the Royal Kingdom of Bhutan, they look at all that contributes to human happiness. And that need not be quantified in terms of material well-being or material comfort, but in overall way in which the system responds to individuals' issues and problems and gives that satisfaction. Prime Minister has always been talking of need for satisfaction, santushtikaran. And that should be a good index. And what the Prime Minister made it a very, very strong point I found was, he was always saying, look, the leaders we are preparing today for tomorrow, they are the leaders who will understand both strategic decision making, crisis management, of course, and futuristic thinking. I think that's a very important point that the Prime Minister was signaling to all those engaged in this exercise of preparing today's leadership as well as tomorrow's. Vinay.
And going forward, Shekhar, Prime Minister touched upon the social sector. And he said that, authentic leader to advance public good. Prime Minister during election speeches in Delhi and earlier also in Haryana, Maharashtra, he also appealed to the youth to take politics as a career. And this is one field where you can have your passion and zeal for public service and public good, not only broad social sector, but today also Prime Minister said that, authentic leaders are needed to advance public good and to navigate complex challenges of leadership in today's world. So I think that is also very, very important for a country like India, which is marching on the vision of Viksit Bharat by 2047.
Our institutions will have to produce leaders who are prepared to work amidst disruptive change because nothing is going to remain static forever. I just mentioned artificial intelligence. I just said what is happening in the field of computing. Everywhere you are finding what seems to be just feel that technology has arrived, things are moving at a pace. suddenly there is a disruption because of the discovery of a new technology. So you need leaders who are prepared to work amidst the disruptive change. You spoke about the training people, and Prime Minister has been saying, look, we need new people to enter into politics because a strong leadership is needed for a simple reason, to make governance and policy making world class, so that global best practices are incorporated, and these people, these new leaders, will understand the challenges that are there right from our villages up and to our from villages onward at a different states at different level. Already we have seen government of Narendra Modi has been coming up with very innovative schemes and very innovative approaches to solving and settling old issues, whether it is infrastructure development, whether it is hand-holding to make people stand up. For instance, I just comes to my mind like this Lakpati drone Didi. This is a very innovative approach. I mean, training young women in our villages to operate drones, which can be used for agriculture purposes. This is a very innovative approach. And it is disruptive because it is coming with a new idea which will enable our farmers to straightaway use technology, whether it is for pest control, for pest spraying, or to assessing the crop availability or the crop production. These are the kind of ideas that will need leaders. And this is not limited technical innovation. As the Prime Minister says, you need it even in diplomacy. And in various sectors, you will need people who can, look at these things in terms of what is that will spur faster growth? What is that will push more and more people out of poverty to stand on their own legs and empower them? And that can be achieved only when our policymakers, our bureaucrats, our entrepreneurs, they keep coming up with new policies. And that is where, global practices and all those things can be incorporated, can be understood by institutions like SOL.
The leadership conclave was also addressed by SOL chairman, Mr. Sudhir Mehta. We can hear his remarks.
It is the beginning of transformational journey to leadership development for India and beyond. At SOL, the School of Ultimate Leadership, we aim to broaden the landscape of political leadership with formal training. It will empower authentic leaders to advance public good.
Before we wind up, Shekhar, a quick recap. Prime Minister said, not only the global best practices, but he emphasized upon solution-driven mindset also. And that has been his hallmark because his eye for detail and managing and reviewing and monitoring process is very up to date. So I think in this line, this solution-driven mindset is also very, very important for all leaders.
Certainly. Vinayji, you have, I think, brought out the essence of what the Prime Minister always has in mind. Because preparing leadership, the leadership will have to handle two things, the traditional sectors or the conventional sectors and the emerging sectors. And in both the sectors, it's question of problem solving. So whether it is emerging sectors like deep technology, space, biotech or renewable energy, or if it is conventional sectors, and that conventional sectors can be politics or sports or manufacturing, agriculture or social service. So the India must not only aspire to be excellent or strive for excellence in all sectors, but must achieve it. And PM feels that the inspiration for this will come straight away from our own history, which has been filled with people who have done tremendous work. Even people who are attending this conclave, some of them have done fantastic work. So therefore, by launching this institution, which could be a laboratory for trying out several ideas, I think today could be a landmark conclave and which will be remembered for years to come. Vinay.
Shekhar very rightly pointed out, and we have to have the new leaders across all sectors if we have to meet complex challenges in today's world, which is, as you pointed out, which is rapidly changing in all sectors, in all areas. And if we have to achieve the vision of Viksit Bharat by 2047. Thank you, Shekhar, for this insightful discussion on various aspects of leadership conclave. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vinay.
You were listening to a discussion on SOL Conclave 2025, a forum to nurture future leadership. The participants were Shekhar, Iyer, political analyst, and Vinay Kumar, journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsttalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 9289094044.
Spotlight.